everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Wendy. This is Will's Mountain Homestead if you are new. And behind me is really what makes my channel go, and that's our gardening. This year has been unlike any other that we have experienced in the last about 14 years that I have gardened. It has gotten extremely hot really early in the month of June, and we had literally zero rain, and we had extreme drought pressure, heat pressure, and pest pressure. So I want to show you what our garden looks like today and what we've had successes with and where our failures lie still in the month of July here right now. Today's the 19th. So let's head on into the garden and we'll show you what's working and what's not. From a distance, everything looks really well, and you guys have to figure that we have been watering twice a day in the early morning and late at night for probably the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. And some of our vegetables, these were volunteers, so some of them are dying and need pulled. We have leaf curl in some of our tomatoes, and that could be from grasshoppers, it could be from the heat. There's a lot of different things that could be from. 2 of my tomato plants have blossom end rot on them, so we're treating that. And we're hit and miss with a lot of things that can be caused specifically from the intense heat. And where I'm at in zone 6, we usually don't have 90-degree weather for extended periods of time until the month of August. So having it that early really put a lot of pressure on my garden area. So I have 3 rows of tomatoes, and we're starting to get some ripening happening here on our cherry tomatoes. We've picked a few, had in salads. We had one slicer tomato that we made BLTs with. But these all are looking really good. Watch out, sweetheart. I have a helper. But you can see in here, like, they've got some decent size to them. And they're looking relatively good. I mean, there's, other than those 2 plants that I have, there's our Romas are in here. And they're looking really good too. And that's our tomato area. So hopefully we get a lot out of that. Our sunflowers are amazing. We have a lot of sunflowers that have multiple heads, and I think that one's really cute. It looks like Mickey Mouse. But these are beautiful and make a really nice border for along my tomatoes. This one here has a lot of heads on it. That's one plant, you guys. That is one sunflower plant. So we'll be saving these seeds. So this was the hard part about this summer. We have had chickens consistently for the last 7 years. And our chickens were older. They were older chickens. And this heat that we had really affected them. They were experiencing heat intolerance, and that was with us providing them shade, giving them berries in ice blocks. We don't have electricity down to our coop, so we couldn't run fans or anything like that. But they were experiencing heat exhaustion, so we had to make the really tough decision to cull our chickens, our laying hens, because of that. It wasn't fair to them. And this is really the first growing season that we have not had chickens. And when you're used to giving them all of your scraps and having a place to compost all of your extras, and waking up in the morning and that being the first thing that you do is go tend to your animals, it's difficult to make that change. So we're going to take the winter month off here, and we found a place to get chickens that are already laying by the time that you purchase them. So we're going to get juvenile hens come spring. And I'm hoping that that was a smart decision on our part. I don't know that yet, but we'll see. We'll see. But it is different, you know, whenever I take out weeds or I'm pulling out vegetables that, you know, I don't want to throw away. I used to just take them down to the chickens and it would be, you know, some green for them, because we can't let them roam because of our cats, and we have a lot of hawks and eagles and stuff that would just clip them off and take them. So they have to be enclosed in a run. But yeah, you guys, we had to put our chickens down, and it was a tough decision, but it was one that we had to make. This is my lettuce bed, and I pulled everything out except for this purple lettuce. I'm letting it go to seed. That way I can harvest the seeds from it once this starts to flower and bloom and dry off. We have one over here that's starting. And what will happen is then I can save these seeds and replant them for either the fall or for next year. I have some arugula that has been started in here. And then I'm going in with a second crop of cucumbers and a yellow zucchini in that section. With it being so incredibly hot outside, I chose not to do any weeding in between my hoops. And that was just simply for the purpose of providing some soil cover and extra protection for the plants, because they are really, really struggling. These are my spaghetti squash, and I mean, the plant looks pretty dead. My pumpkins have already turned. I'm just waiting for them to be at the point where I can harvest. I think there's 3 of them that are ready, which is not common for this time of year. They shouldn't be ready until September. And you guys, it is strictly the weather that we're having that's causing this, that high heat. To help combat the heat, I had only one shade cloth, and we stretched it out over the herbs that we had, because they're the most tender things that I thought needed protected from this extreme heat. And I'm so glad that we did, because everything survived and is thriving. We have already harvested 1 round of our herbs. Now our cilantro, I let it go to seed, and it produces these little tiny balls right here. They will turn brown, and some of them already did, and I replanted them so that way I can get a later harvest whenever it's time to make salsa. And we've got some basil here, which needs pruned. And we have probably enough here right now to make another round of pesto and get a couple more jars in the freezer. We still have our rosemary and thyme. Our dill, I'm doing the same thing, letting it flower and go to seed. That way we can get another harvest out of this later. And we still have some that we can pick from. Our oregano is going mad. It's just spreading like crazy. That's a weed. That is our parsley. Our sage is looking amazing. So is our chamomile. We've already harvested 2 out of this. And this plant here is new. This is what's called a banana melon. And this was from M.I. Gardener. So I'm anxious to see what we get from it. We've got some beautiful flowers and some fruit that's already starting. Let me show you. There's 2 right there that are starting. So we'll see how much we get off of it. Now that it's cooled off a little bit, I can come out earlier in the mornings now and take care of some of the stuff that I've been putting off, because I refuse to come out in the 90-degree weather and garden. It's just a little too hot for me. So I'll show you what I mean. Like, some stuff needs done, especially in this bed here.
Calendula. This whole plant just needs to be pulled. And when your calendula starts to brown and look like this, these are the seeds.
right here. So what you can do is lay these on a paper plate and dry them out, and then you can store them for next year. Or you can do what I'm gonna do and just go like that and dump them down in. Our celery definitely needs to be cut, and I like to dehydrate it versus freezing it. Our fennel is really taking off. It looks amazing. You guys, look at how big that plant is. It's gorgeous. We've got some cucamelons on here, or Mexican gherkin pickles, I think is Mexican gherkins, or whatever they're called. There's one starting right here. You can see it if it'll zoom in and focus. There's one. And my daughter loves these in her school lunch. They are a favorite of hers and her friends. So there's another little one, but they'll be ready by school time. And then this plant here is goji berries. So I have a couple of those planted in this bed as well. No fruit off of them this year, which was expected because these are a first-year plant. So hopefully next year we get something off of them. If we go through, hey, watch out. If we go through here, our beans are actually starting to really produce and take off. We are at the point that we can start harvesting these to eat or to can. And I'll probably be doing that here in just a couple of days. I like to wait until I have enough to do a whole canner load. And they're just beautiful. We really haven't had too many Japanese beetles on them, which has been fantastic. But they're looking good. A lot of flowers. A lot of flowers. Boy, oh boy, if you need Swiss chard, come to my house. I could hook you up for a long time. I do not like to can this. I think it just takes so much of it and it's so time consuming that I would rather just eat this fresh and just keep it going abundant throughout the summer months. We like to stir fry it, saute it, eat it in wraps, use the stalks as celery, you know, use that stalk, put peanut butter in it, use it as celery. Very delicious that way, but we've got quite an abundance of it. We harvested all but 2 of our cabbages because the heat was really affecting them. The size of them was very, very small. Like you can see, the heads in here are ridiculously small. And that's what it has been. So we'll try again in the fall. I'm not worried about sauerkraut. This year we had enough from last year to do us for this year. And then I have 2 more patches, or 3 celery plants, I'm sorry, down at this end of the garden. I have dug up some of my potatoes, which are in this row that's full of weeds right now. And we're gonna dig those out probably today. I would imagine this evening after the sun goes down. We are forecasted to get rain, and I would hate to see these lay in here and get saturated, especially as dry as it has been. So we'll harvest these and then we'll get these canned up as just canned potatoes and French fries. We'll do that as well with this. Now, my broccoli and cauliflower did not do well because of the heat. Perfectly fine. We did get 1 helping out of it, and you know, it is what it is. We'll try again in the fall. We have 4 plants of kale. Not as big as I would like for this time of the year, but they're still alive. They're still doing okay. My pepper plants are really starting to produce, which I am so thankful for this. I know peppers love heat, and they have done such a good job of really starting to produce well. These are green peppers here. We're gonna do sweet peppers, and then I'm gonna make some freezer meals of stuffed peppers. We've got banana peppers and, oh my gosh, I missed it. Some banana peppers in here. We're gonna do some hot mustard with these guys. We've got lots of those. If I come over here, we've got some hotter peppers right here. And then my favorites are ducked down in here. These are poblanos, and these are my favorite peppers. I like to either dehydrate these or slice them and freeze them. So yeah, beautiful. We are having issues with our zucchini. We had squash bugs pretty bad. And I will say that the vacuum trick that I showed you works really well for getting them out of the inside of the flower. So that's always an option. So it works pretty good, but we're having to pull our zucchini plants left and right. I did start a second batch of seedlings, which hopefully will be planted either today or tomorrow. And that way they can get going for a later crop of them. They're really on the struggle bus. The heat, they look fine in the morning, even after watering heavily, and then you'll come out like lunchtime and they will be wilted so far down they're touching the ground. So everything's yellowing. We've got some winter squash over here. These guys here, I've already had to pick 2 of them because they have been ripe. Again, they should not be ripe until like 2 months from now. So they're not going to store well for over the winter. But you can see like we did really well growing them. These acorn squash are doing really well, but you guys, we probably won't have them into the winter like I had wanted. Even though our zucchini don't look that great right now, we have harvested so many of them. We took some to give away to church. We gave some to family. I've made many loaves of zucchini bread. We've had zucchini so many times that my husband said he would disown me if I made one more meal that had zucchini in it. So we've had quite a bit. However, they are starting to look bad. So it's just a matter of time until we have to pull all of those plants out and plant our new seedlings. So as you can see, we're dealing and combating with just a little bit of issues, and I'm hoping that the blossom end rot is contained just to those 2 plants and I don't have the rest of them to worry about. Let's hope, fingers crossed. I did treat them with a spray that you spray on the foliage and the plants, and it is a calcium chlorinate, I think. Chlorinated calcium, something like that. I'd have to get the bottle to look, but you dilute it with water and then you spray the foliage. So I'm hoping it's had its first round of treatments on it. So I'm hoping that after the second and third one, that will be okay with those plants. You guys, even though we're having issues, we are beyond blessed to still have the harvest that we're getting. I forgot to mention we did pull out a lot of our onions, and those are curing downstairs. We're probably going to be just making onion jam with them. They're not going to last all summer and into the winter, but that's a good use for that as well. You can also dice them and freeze them. But you guys, we're beyond blessed to have what we have here, and I hope even though if you're having struggles, you can find the blessings in what God has given you. So thank you so much for joining me today. You guys take care. God bless, and we will see you next time. Bye.